say embeerera, bw'obanga okyali mbeerera, there is a value that is attached to that. And we're going to be focusing on 3 words: modesty, have a very knowledgeable person, very passionate about young people, very passionate about life. She's going to be help us to delve into this discussion and break all this down for us. Teddy Ajik, welcome to Youth of Purpose.
Thank you so much.
Kindly say hello to the viewer.
Hi everyone. Thank you so much, Ivan, for this opportunity, and the viewers outside there. I'm Teddy Ajik, a pro-lifer. When I talk about the term pro-life, that means defending the right to life.
Pro-life. You are pro-life.
Yes, please.
Are there people that are not pro-life?
Yeah, indeed, there are some people who are not pro-lifers.
Wow.
They are pro-choice. So
pro-choice.
The pro-choice people are the one who says it is okay for a woman to do whatever she wants with her body. So imagine at the context or as a point where a woman is pregnant. Just imagine this, maybe a 25-year-old who is still at campus, who is still a dependent on parents. And like at the end of the day, yes, you have met this young boy whom you're interested in, like you started dating, and out of the dating, you guys had intimacy, and then like the end result, you've gotten pregnant. So of course the end result is, how am I going to go back home and tell my parents, you know what?
So that's why you can be pro-choice and you choose that, you know, either you're going to get rid of the pregnancy or something. So a pro-lifer will have to save the life.
Yes.
But the pro-choice will decide to
end the life, like I do with my body what I want, so I'm going to get rid of
that. Goes to the same to, for example, people who say I'm dark, now I want to make a choice and I bleach to be able to become brown.
Yes, please.
Wow. So we have 2 different kinds of people: the pro-choices
and the
pro-lifers.
Yes, please.
Wow, that's amazing. What are those things that you do cherish as Teddy? The things that you think give value to life?
Of course, some of the things that I actually look into that gives value to life, and not only value to life, but like how can a young lady or a young guy outside there, you know, live a purposeful life, a meaningful life. Because living a life that doesn't have a purpose, like at the end of the day, like it wouldn't make sense. But we all have purposes in our life. So, and I'm just really going to base on 3 things that I'm going to look into. There is modesty, abstinence, and purity. Because when you have all those 3, then like at the end of the day, you will even be able to define like your purpose in life. Because without it, like you will just be living a life like, okay, like any other human being who has lost hope in life, and be like, I will go with what will come my way.
We've had a lot to do with abstinence from school. We used to have placards and signs that show, okay, abstain from sex.
Yes.
So the other 2 words, they might be clear to us, but not clear to everyone who is watching us. Modesty. What is modesty? Abstinence and purity. And how do the 3 relate to do the value that you're talking about?
Yeah, so I'm going to start with the one called purity. Purity, in simple terms, it means staying away from stain, or like from not being contaminated.
Contaminated,
pure, yes.
Wasted. Wow.
Yeah, so basically that's what's meant by purity. Yeah?
Yes.
Staying away from stains or being stained. Just like when you have a white shirt, then like something drops on it, it will get stained. But if you don't drop in something, then like at the end of the day, it won't get stained. So like, how do you achieve that? Like
what gets stained in perspective of a human being or a young girl? What can get stained? Are we talking about our morals being stained? Are we talking about our health being stained? What kind of staining are you talking about?
Yeah, of course, it's going to be something that is so broad, but I'm going to break it down. What can get stained in us? Number 1 thing I'm going to talk about is our mind, the thoughts.
Wow.
So it's not something that everyone will be able to pursue it. But like as time goes on, you can what? You can pursue that. So how do we keep our minds from, you know, getting stained? Because when we still draw back into the scriptures, when Christ talked about blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God.
Oh, yeah.
Are you seeing? And then like as we continue looking in through like the Sermon on the Mount, that is Matthew chapter 5, when he talked about, like, it was said in the law of Moses that, you know, committing adultery was meant like when you sleep with a woman. But Jesus Christ said, just mere looking at a woman with lustful thoughts, you have already committed adultery with her.
Wow.
So then that means we need to take conscience of our minds, how we think. The things we eye on are the very things that will what? Bring about impure thoughts in our mind at the end of the day. And you find like you are completely stained.
The people that surround us, the people we talk to.
The people that surround us, the people we talk to, the people we eye at. Are you seeing? Because at the end of the day, I'm going to draw you back to now being modest.
Wow.
Like when you walk around the streets, you have seen so many people dressed like, okay,
Oh, yeah.
so imagine, I wouldn't wish to go far, but I know like there are thoughts that will always draw at the back of your mind. Like when the moment you've looked at a young lady, like yes, you've seen her structure, how it really looks like, and like you really appreciate how she's dressed.
They say they show us what their mamas gave them.
What their mamas gave them. But
Yes.
like at the end of the day, a brother is lasting. So meaning the end result is someone is not actually having the intentions of maybe having a relationship with you, but just having that lustful thoughts. If only I can have her just for a one stand, like then
They
it
can
is a
easily
done
make,
deal.
basically it makes your thoughts impure.
Yes.
Yes.
So that is what is meant by purity. So how do we even achieve that? So how we can achieve purity, one of the things is holding one another accountable. If I have something that I am struggling with, I can clearly maybe talk to you, Ivan, like for real, like if I'm open to you, like I'm so free with you, I'll come and tell you, like, you know what, Ivan, like, yeah, I have these struggles that are going through with me, and like I have totally failed. So that will give you a step ahead of saying, you know what, oh, last time Teddy shared with me the struggles she had. Let me check on her and see how she's doing so far with the struggles. So that one is holding one another accountable. Are you seeing? So
The person that can speak to you and you listen, I'm like, Teddy, no, you cannot go to town dressing like that. No, Teddy, you cannot speak like that to people. Teddy, you cannot do this, and you're able to listen. So I'm holding you accountable.
Yes, you're holding me accountable. Not only holding me accountable, but by the fact that I come and talk to you about it, I am already confessing what I'm struggling with. So it's also another point of letting you, you know, reach a point of working out through this when you confess. You know, most of us, we have things that are happening, but we tend to think that we can manage or overcome it on our own. But like at times that's the point, you really feel that you're fixed at the corner and you cannot come out of that basket. But when you come out and you talk about it, you're relieving yourself from that thing. So when you confess, it's also a relief coming out. So now you're overcoming that. So now when Ivan keeps on holding me accountable, so at the end of the day, Ivan will be like, oh, so Teddy, how are you doing? Like, how is it going? Oh, maybe like, you know, I have maybe these other steps that maybe you can follow to help you come out of this struggle that you're having.
Wow.
So purity really has a lot that comes in.
It's purity that drives us to modesty.
Modesty.
Amazing. So when you're conscious about the things that you do, the people you relate with, how you dress, how you talk, that brings about
Modesty. Yeah, because when you talk about modesty, I would bring it in a context of how we speak, our actions, and how we dress. Because at the end of the day, if the way you speak really brings in value to you as well when you talk to someone, then the way you dress, then the way you respond, then meaning at the end result, you're being supportive and you're also encouraging purity. Not with a mind like, okay, this is how I've dressed, this is how I respond to people, these are my action, which at the end time, it is bringing in sinful sexual desires towards people.
Wow.
So modesty itself, it is not something that someone can easily also achieve. But of course, you can journey with it slowly. I will talk from a point of view, like, this is not how I used to dress up, like, let me take myself as a living.
But when you are still at campus?
Yes, like when I was still at campus, like, wow, I also really used to imagine myself. When I sit back and remember gonna are the days how I used to.
When they bring the Teddy of then
and the Teddy of now,
today, and you sit next to each other, what would you tell the other Teddy?
The other Teddy, I will tell Teddy, you know what? First, go back to the roots.
Wow.
When you talk about the roots, even in the scripture, it talks about modesty. So let's go back to the roots and we get to know exactly what was being said. Because in the book of Peter, First Peter, it talks about it like our adorning shouldn't be of external appearances, but the inside or the inner man. So why was that being stated out? So then that means these days we tend to forego certain things, but they are basics or where we can drive them from. So the Teddy of then and the Teddy of now, I would always tell her, you know what, you need to change.
Amazing. Purity, modesty.
Abstinence.
We go to abstinence.
Yes.
That's the flow, actually.
That's the
You're
flow.
pure, you work on your modesty, and then you can be able to abstain.
Yes.
And then you can also be able to break it down. Abstain from what?
Of course, when you talk about abstinence, now this one I'm going to bring into the context of sexuality or sex. Are you seeing?
Okay.
Because trust me, like if you really have a pure thoughts,
Yes.
then that means also you're going to be mindful about your actions. Like at the end of the day, if I've seen that my dress code leads you into lust, then that means I'll have to change. I'm like, okay, my brother Ivan always lusts so much. Then like I need to find a means on how to stop him from sinning.
Let me not add on the
Yes.
problem that is already there.
Yes, yes, because already I am leading you into sin. Are you seeing? And the scripture talks about it that if you know that you're doing something that leads your sister or a brother to sin, then you need to draw away from it. So then that means my failure to not work on that and I still continue doing the same thing, I will be responsible. So that means I'll have to draw away from that. I'm like, okay, then I need to change on how I do my things. I need to change on how I dress, because at the end time, I do not want my brother to have impure thoughts. Then out of the impure thoughts, you know, some things can come up. Like there are also guys who masturbate, you know, they might be shy, like approaching you and telling you, but like the end result also still draws back to me. Like, how do I portray myself? Yeah? And maybe what if like at the end result, like maybe I was this kind of young lady, maybe, you know, maybe you wanted to have as a wife in the future.
Yes.
But now when you see like the way how I handle my things, how I dress, like clearly just showing my body to everyone. Like, do I, at the end of the day, do I have value? At the end of the day, will I have the respect that is needed as a woman? So that means I'll lose all of that. So then that means now when you talk about abstinence, when you have these two, it's going to help you also to abstain, because you know, like the end result, I am helping someone outside there from having lustful thoughts, someone outside there from maybe making decisions that they will live to regret at some point. So then
Is being pure still valued today in the modern world?
So being pure, being valid in our modern day to day, you know, things have changed. A lot of things have changed. Generations have come and passed by. But for someone who clearly draws back, because I'll still draw back to what the scripture does says about purity, because there's a reason as to why it was stated there. So for someone who has really understood the whole context of purity in the scripture context, then you will value purity. But if you don't, then like at the end time, you're going to live your life the way you want it to be. Because we know, like, yeah, like girls of 8 years nowadays, even the way they dress, you'll be like, wow, is this, what's wrong with the kids of nowadays? Like, what are even the role of the parents in the family?
No, like I told you in the beginning, that, you know, being, for example, a virgin
Yes.
was something that was so much valued. A girl was so much respected for being a virgin.
Yes.
But today, actually, they will be dissed in their groups. It's being backward. Actually, some will say that being a virgin is because of lack of opportunity. Maybe no one is appreciating you. So why should actually anyone, any young girl out there, any young boy out there, be proud or embrace being pure?
Being pure.
Yeah.
One should.
What does it add on me, being pure?
Being pure. Number one thing that it will add on you, I'll still draw back to respect, knowing your worth. Because when you are pure, there is a lot that is going to add on onto you when you talk about respect. Meaning, even the people who would love to associate with you at the end of the day will get to know exactly who Ivan is. Are you saying, okay, Ivan is a kind of person who hates this. Ivan is a kind of person who tries as much as he can not to involve himself in things that are going to lead him to having what? Into having impure thoughts. So then that means there will be a specific group of people who will also engage in you. Reason being, they have seen something unique about you.
The values that
and
you
like at the end of
have.
the day, be like, I really want to be like Ivan. Like, how did he manage to attain that? So then that means you're going to have respect. You're going to know your worth. When you talk about knowing your worth, at the end of the day, you will be knowing how to make rightful decisions. The decision that I'm making, like, how is it going to affect me? How is it going to affect the next person close to me? How is it going to affect those around me? And like, what kind of image am I giving to those people around me?
Okay.
So purity is not something that people should just shy away from just because we're not living in in a world that is full of freedom. Now from the context of human rights. I have my right to do this. I have a right to do this. I have a right to do this. Like the end result, like it has even lost meaning.
Amazing. So we're going to be talking to a number of young people. One, we need to understand their perspective in as far as purity, modesty, abstinence is concerned. And all those things that we're talking about have repercussions. If you don't abstain, what happens? If you're not pure, what happens? Let's have perspectives from these young people to understand what they do have to say.
My name is Namakula Christine, and to talk about abstinence, every youth or every person there should opt to go for abstinence, because sometimes if you opt for other options like using injections, you may not be able to safeguard your life. Take an example of people who don't practice about like abstinence. They have to sometimes they get pregnant in the way that those pregnancies are termed as unwanted pregnancies, mostly in the young age or the youth. In that when people get pregnant, they might be not in line to take care of those pregnancies, and both financially, socially. So this results into abortion. For example, last week there was a friend of mine who was she's a senior 4 candidate, but right now she aborted, and after going back to school, she's bleeding like nothing. So to the youth out there, we need to abstain because we safeguard our lives. We give our lives point to live. For example, you reduce the contraction of STDs, HIV, and other diseases.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm okay.
What's your name?
Ruth Ijaniza Rizaza.
Okay, nice name. Well, Ruth, do you think the youth of today still embrace purity? Maybe like being a virgin being such a big deal like it used to be way back?
I think personally the youth today don't take being a virgin serious. Actually, you not being a virgin is as if
you're dumb, you're slow.
You're slow, you're local, you know. Basically that. You're not informed, you're not on date, you know. So I think it's something that we have made as the youth have taken losing your virginity a normal thing. Yet it's actually wrong.
Does being pure add any value to you?
Me personally, or to anyone?
To you?
Me personally, yes. I believe being pure is something good. At the end of the day, if your partner, me as a girl, I believe if it is a man who has manners and you actually got married to me or married me and then you find me pure, there is that extra respect that is attached to me. I believe there would be some more respect to me
So, talking to a person who is out there who's like us, and do you think with what's going on around, with a lot of exposure, are we still in position to go ahead and abstain?
Yes, yes, please. Abstain, abstain. Purity is the goal, guys.
What is purity to you?
Purity sexually. Like who is a pure person, or what is purity in general?
Being pure in general.
In general, I think someone who's pure is someone who has abstained from sex, and someone who chooses to only have sex when they're married. I feel like that is someone who's sexually pure, or someone who is pure, because sexual purity comes very many things. Yeah, if you decide to be sexually pure, you're obedient. When you decide to be sexually pure, it means you are patient. It comes with very many things.
Just in case you got somebody pregnant and you're not ready, what are the first things that would come into your mind?
You said when I am not ready, right?
Yeah.
I would
Let's
not.
say right now. I don't think
Right
you
now.
are ready. Are you?
I'm not ready,
Exactly.
but I don't encourage abortion.
Okay.
At the same time, it would be a very tough decision to make, because you really need to consider where you, by the time you make someone pregnant, I mean, you are ready to have sex with them, but you are not ready to what? To have a child. But I think, okay, me, I'm of the view, if I got somebody pregnant right now, I would not consider abortion as the first thing.
Okay.
You know, sometimes we make mistakes and we are bound to own up for our mistakes and, you know, make it up to ourselves. But for starters, I would tell my parents, I've made someone's daughter pregnant, and I would love that.
They support?
Exactly.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. It was really nice having you on the show.
Aha, you're welcome.
Well, awesome views right from the young people, and I do believe that you have been able to learn a thing or two from their, opinion in as far as our today's topic is concerned: modesty, abstinence, and purity. Teddy, we're still talking about relating the three: modesty, abstinence, and purity. One, we're looking at one, for example, what someone loses by not being pure.
Okay.
If you're not pure, then you're not going to be modesty. If you're not modesty, because of whatever happens, then you might not be able to achieve the abstinence, because we talk about it, but it's not something that is that easy that everyone achieves to say, for me, I'm going to abstain. Kindly, what do I need to do to remain pure, be modesty, and be able to abstain?
Be able to abstain. All right, let me start with the modesty part. Yeah, how one achieves that. Or maybe should be like also maybe the reasons as to why. So one can achieve modesty, number one, by knowing the kind of people you relate yourself to, the kind of people you have a relationship with, the kind of people like you spend so much time with, because they are the very ones who will be so influential in your life.
We want to understand, we are telling these young people that they should be able to be pure, they should abstain.
Yes.
What are the repercussions in an instance where someone does not abstain? Majorly, for those young people, the teenagers, what are the repercussions of them not abstaining?
Yeah, the number one repercussion, I would start with, this is so common. Let me start with the sexually transmitted diseases.
Wow.
Cause incidences happen like you have not tested, you do not know the kind of person you're going to have the sexual intercourse with, and you don't know like their health status. At the end of the day, you're going to contract sexually transmitted diseases. And then like the end result, you're going to be having health complications. Then the other main thing that always comes in is the pregnancy, the unwanted pregnancy at the end of the day. So out of the unwanted pregnancy, you're going to think of terminating that life. You know, at the point of conception, it's 100% alive and 100% human. That's already a human being growing. You know, people have heard a say of it's just a blob of tissue or a blood tissue. But that's not really the truth. That is life growing already, because if science has proved it, then who are you to say wrong to it? So then that means abstinence holds a very, very big picture, because you're going to prevent yourself from having the unwanted pregnancy.
And the STDs.
And the STDs. Of course, there are still others that flow in. The other thing is maybe you also failure not to tarnish your future at the end of the day, because if your parent at the end of the day withdraws from paying your fees, so how are you going to manage?
Educated.
Yes.
But at the same time, you can get cheated of your motherhood, because in the process of doing abortion and terminating the baby, all that, you never know what happens. You might lose the chance to be a mother in the near future.
Yeah, imagine like after having all this struggle in life, you have studied, you have worked hard, you have achieved it all, you have good marriage, but you can't have children to enjoy what you worked for. Hold on to yourself, know your worth, know where you're standing, know who you are. If you have known that context, it's going to help you a lot in life, and get to understand your purpose in life. If you do not understand your purpose, you're going to be misled easily. Just in a blink of an eye, something like this will divert you.
Just a second or 1 minute of happiness can tarnish your life.
Yes.
Wow.
So imagine maybe those who happen to have died in the process. You had another life ahead of you. So why not learn to be patient enough? Like patience pains,
yes,
but it pays in the long run.
We end it there. Patience pains, but it pays. All that we can be able to see is that the best option for you is to abstain. Thank you so much, Teddy, for speaking to us. I do hope your talk and your advice has been able to impact the young people out there in the communities. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for also having me around.
Yes, thank you so much for watching Youth of Purpose. See you next time.
Youth of Purpose. UBC, inspiring Uganda.